Imagine Albert Einstein, and think about how much he helped advance humanity. Now think about someone just as smart, who decides to use his intelligence in the exact opposite way. A math prodigy who decides to pursue seclusion instead, and his solitude drives his mind into unthinkable corners. Isn't it scary to think how someone with such a high IQ can terrorize the United States for nearly 2 decades? This is the story of Ted Kaczynski, or the so-called Unabomber. Kaczynski was born to a Polish-American couple in Chicago in 1942. As a baby, he showed an allergic reaction to some medication and had to be hospitalized in isolation while recovering. After all, parents play a vital role in a child's development. Anyhow, he started to show drastic changes in personality, and they became much worse after the birth of his younger brother, David. Ted's parents believed that academic success was the key to a bright future, and they encouraged him to study as hard as he could. Since he was already a very smart child, their efforts paid off, and he managed to graduate from high school at the age of 15 and enroll in the University of Harvard. There, he registered in Professor Henry Murray's psychological experiments on how an individual's personality can be altered. Allegedly, Kaczynski's mental health was adversely affected by these experiments, and they became the final push that led him to do what he did years later. Finally, he earned his doctorate in 1967 and became a professor of mathematics in University of California, Berkeley. However, he had deep social issues and was unable to connect with his students, and he resigned from that position in a few years after. He decided to settle in a small cabin near Lincoln, Montana, without any electricity and running water, as he absolutely abhorred technology. There, he occupied himself with reading and growing vegetables far from human contact. In his solitude, he started to devise his own anti-government and anti-technology philosophy. In his idea, technology was a vile creation of mankind that defiled Mother Nature, and it needed to be stopped. After 8 years of seclusion, he came up with a plan to send handmade bombs to every person or institute that had anything to do with technology. His targets included university professors, airline companies, and computer store owners who simply sell computer hardware. Because of his attempts at terrorizing universities and airlines, he became known as the University Airline Bomber, or Unabomber for short. At first, his bombs failed to operate correctly and injured his victims at most. However, he got better with each attempt and managed to kill 3 people, including 2 university professors and 1 computer store owner with some of his later bombs. His reign of terror continued for 17 years, while the FBI conducted extensive investigations to catch the Unabomber. In 1995, Kaczynski sent out a 35,000-word essay on the problems of modern society to several media outlets and demanded that they publish it if they didn't want him to blow up a plane. Kaczynski's brother, David, who'd become estranged with him over the years, quickly realized that the writing style and the ideas belonged to his brother and shared his suspicions with FBI. Finally, in 1996, the FBI arrested Kaczynski in his cabin in Montana and found journal entries describing his crimes in detail. With this irrefutable evidence, he was put on trial. He pleaded guilty to 13 bombing-related charges and was sentenced to a life in prison. To this day, Kaczynski is imprisoned in U.S. Penitentiary Administrative Maximum Facility in Florence, Colorado, and continues his personal battle against federal authority from behind the bar.